Trap House Cousins, what it do? Welcome to the Trap House with the one and only Cousin L. The one and only. If you're on my Instagram page, the old one, it did get hacked. If you've been following me for 7 years, it did get hacked. It is no longer my page. I've done everything that I can to retrieve it. It has not happened. Be sure to follow my backup page. As always, with this new moon reading, it will titrate into Patreon. And in Patreon, I spill piping hot tea. All the tea gets spilled in Patreon. So I'll go into some details about some things that happened, how I knew that I was being hacked, what I'm doing in the interim, after the effect. Um, but it did happen on Scorpio's first day. So I think that is hilarious. I'm a Scorpio stellium first house. So my appearance, the way I appear to the world, your rising sign is who you are to the world. So you may be a Virgo sun, but your rising sign is who the world believes you are. So I think it's hilarious that I'm a Cancer sun, but I'm a rising Scorpio, stellium Scorpio. And people very much so get that vibe from me. I have Scorpio eyes, but I also have Cancerian eyes. But I think it's hilarious that this happened. The biggest point of alchemy happened while another huge point of alchemy was happening for me. Literally, like, in the same point. So join me on Patreon. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go into some depth about that if you even care. But also on Patreon, we're going to get into how the Scorpio new moon, how the Scorpio season is connected to past lives, how you really want to know about that, how you really need to get into the nitty gritty of that. The water kite that is transitioning or happening right now, and then how this 24-month transit is finally coming to a conclusion. But for now, let's get into the collective energy read. Y'all know I also read cards on Patreon. I'm going to pull the energy to see what they are, and then we'll dive into that on Patreon too here at the end of this reading. The title of the Scorpio new moon is Grief Rainbows. Grief Rainbows. We know that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, modern day, and Pluto is death and karma and rebirth and the catacombs of the mausoleum. You know, it's the where you go and you lay the body to rest. It's the funerary service. It's the in order for something to grow, in order for the flower to grow, the seed had to die. The seed that you planted had to die so that the flower could grow. That's Scorpio season. Scorpio is also money bag. Scorpio is transmutation. Scorpio is the alchemist, the metaphysician, the psychic, the one, right? So a lot of things happen in order for Scorpio to become number one. They have to die many times. Every Scorpio placement that you know has died multiple times in 30 days. Not physically. Who they are mentally, spiritually, emotionally has transitioned. Most Scorpio placements have had something taken from them or have experienced very deep, profound loss at a very early age. They understood life and death, and not because they watched a Disney movie. They understood it because they had to live through it. It was their real truth. Scorpio dominant placements also have likely had things taken from them physically. Someone thought it was okay to take something physically from the Scorpio placement. So when you see the Scorpio protecting their boundaries, when you see the Scorpio using their pinchers and their claws to make sure that you can't get too close to them, when you see the Scorpio listening to you, but they're really looking through you to see who you are because they can see you in your core. You have to remember that Scorpio has lived and died and lived again many lifetimes, while many people have only been experiencing this one lifetime on this one timeline. So Scorpio new moon is occurring November 1st at 7:46 a.m. That is CST time. So wherever you are, make sure you check that out. 9 degrees of Scorpio. The moon and the sun will be conjunct at 9 degrees of Scorpio. 9 degrees is the Sagittarius degree. And I think this is so beautiful because, yes, Mercury is in Scorpio. Mercury will be in Scorpio even when the new moon occurs. But then Mercury moves into Sagittarius 2 days later. And then it's also a Pisces situation because Pisces is ancient, ruled by Jupiter. So whenever Sagittarius has something going on, Pisces really can pay attention and kind of take some back notes. And the same is true for Sagittarius. Take some back notes whenever Pisces has a song and dance going on, but we're still in Saturn retrograde. So with this new moon being at 9 degrees of Pisces, of Scorpio, I'm sorry. 9 degrees of Sagittarius, I'm sorry. But affecting Pisces, and Saturn is in Pisces. This is a double whammy. Really a quadruple whammy as we get deeper into the reading. Sagittarius rules the ninth house, higher education, college, classes, learning, philosophy, traveling, never traveling to do anything other than learn. Even if you went for leisure, you came back with a lesson. The ninth degree is also a crucial degree for Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius placements. So there will be deep migrations occurring for those Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius dominant placements. This is going to be when the sky is the darkest, when you are not able to actually see the moon, but this is when the seeds are doing their deepest germination. That's when seeds do their most growth, when no one can see them. The last thing that we see on the tree is the fruit. So this is when the thought counts. This is when it really matters. Is when we're putting the seeds into the dirt. It makes the soil very permeable for something new. It's a new moon. It's our first opportunity to work with the supporting energies of manifestation. I mean, the last moon, the full moon in Aries, yes, you could have used it to manifest, but it was really good for releasing and letting go of and blocking out and protecting. But now with this new moon, you can set the new momentum forth, or use all of the lessons that you've been processing over the last few months, in essence, so that you can move forward in the lesson that you are in. There's this underlying anticipation that's bubbling. You don't know what it is, but it's a good feeling. You just don't know what it is. We don't know exactly where it's coming from. We can't pinpoint it, but we know something is happening. And we've felt like this before. But the last time we felt like this, maybe we were a little irresponsible with the move. Maybe we fumbled the move. We felt all this new energy bubbling up under the surface, and instead of us navigating it and prompting and priming and priming it, we fumbled it. But now we know better, so we'll do better, and then we'll move better because we'll choose better. And I'm not trying to rap, that just happened, right? Even though the shift is unknown, we still feel empowered through it. We still feel like we're on the right path. I told myself I can only talk for 30 minutes on here. So even if I don't get through all of the points that I wanted to touch over here, I have to only talk for 30 minutes for YouTube, and then I can go into Patreon because I can be long-winded. Expect for your intuition and your psychic connection and your internal awareness to be unfolding at this time as well, because Scorpio is the psychic. Scorpio knows things. Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. You will not get anything past them. They either felt it, they dreamed it, or they synced it. But you're not getting it past them. You're not getting it past them. And Mars is in Cancer, Saturn is in Pisces, and the Sun and the Moon will be in Scorpio. This is a period of the slowdown. I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I know that there's this big craze about the winter arc. I don't know what that is, but really this is the dark night of the soul. So this is when you need to be pushing in when everybody else is relaxing. This is when you need to be initiating yourself. And if you have Scorpio placements, you're already being initiated. If you are paying attention to the expansion of the universe, you're already being initiated, and you're going with the initiation. I talk a lot about the industry and how it really is a double speaking system. Nothing that you see is real. Nothing that you see is real. The president ain't real. The stage is fake. The people rapping, the singing, the hair, the words, all of it is fake. And once you can see the double meaning of that through gematria or through symbolism, then you can upgrade your own consciousness, and you can expand the way that you think and empower yourself. So that's what's occurring right now. This is like a period of retreat so that you can find out what matters to you, what feels safe to you, what gives you security in the dark night, right? Because I know a lot of people are crumbling under the energy of the industry no longer being what they thought it was, which is sad, because that's where you need to realize you are your own hero. I talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago on Black Church on Patreon. Black Church is a free public post for Patreon. It's posted every month, and you can go and not only get you a word, Okay, but we break down the word, we decode the word, we talk about the astrotheology in the word, right? So go check that out. But instead of looking outside of yourself for the hero, this is where you're having to really look within and realize that it was always you. Many of you or us may feel that we are empowered and in control of our emotions for the first time in a long time. Because remember, I told you this has been a 24-month transit. So at the beginning of this transit, you may have really been at odds with yourself and coming undone and coming unraveled at the first sight of dismay. But now you realize that it's in the dismay that you have power. It's in the uncertainty that you have power. It's in the um, unknown that the alchemist is truly born. And that is where you now feel more conditioned, trained, warrior, shamanic like, and able to navigate whatever's happening right now. Again, I'm a Scorpio stellium. So when my page got snatched, first of all, my heart it didn't drop the way I thought it was going to drop. You know, I've anticipated this coming. I've anticipated me no longer having access to that page for a few years now because of the way that people were coming at me. You know, like I was like, one day you're going to wake up and you're not going to have access to this page. And that's going to be devastating. I used to think that it's going to be so devastating. Well, something's happened in the last 2 years. I completely detached from the way that I utilized that platform or the way that I allowed that platform to be connected to me. So when it was snatched and it was no longer within my reach, it was like, new things, new beginnings. All right, great. I think my clients and my followers and my tribe are more upset about it than I am. I truthfully do not care. That old page had 32,700 followers. Do y'all really think that in 32,700 followers, that all of those people meant me well, that all of those people looked at my page with love and appreciation, and that all of those people came to learn and expand themselves? No. There was a lot of lurkers on that page. That page is almost 8 years old. That page had a lot of stagnant energy on it. It had a lot of unprogressive energy on it. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. It's the alchemy. It's the alchemist. Now is when the transformation continues in a whole nother way, which is something else that's going on. There's transformations that are happening on the earth right now that may not be understandable, may not be tangible, but you can feel them and you know that it is for your highest good. With that being said, new understandings. It's like looking at a math problem or looking at something for a long time because you know it's not right. It's like, why? Why is this not right? Only to realize you just didn't simplify, or you didn't carry the one, or you didn't put the nail in, or you didn't put the screw the right way, or it was just something very minute, but that minute detail was what was needed in order for this plan to go off without a hitch the way that you needed it to. So it's an aha moment. Scorpio season in and of itself is bringing an aha moment. It's literally looking at literature with a new set of eyes. If you've been in church your whole life, I guarantee you've never really read and understood the Bible. If you've been taking the Bible literally, if you've been taking that book or any of the spiritual books or any of the religious books for literal context, then you've been missing the point the whole time. The entire time. But when you go back as an adult that's lived, that's gone to the edge of the earth to find yourself, to find what really works for you, because it's again Scorpio season. What is your belief system? What is your tradition? What is your alchemy? What works for you doesn't work for everyone else. So when you've really done that, then you go back and you look at that same book with a whole nother set of eyes, and you're like, what? What you say? You were talking to me the whole time, talking about me the whole time. Scorpio season is bringing us back to ourselves. There's a story that's being written and unfolding through November 1st through November 15th. Scorpio new moon through the Taurus full moon. Eliza, I think it's Eliza Kelly on Instagram, and she's everywhere. She's everywhere because she's an astrologer and she's also an author and things of that nature. But every Scorpio new moon or Taurus full moon, she always posts this picture that basically shows the seed growing and the rose growing. And that's where I get the sentiment of the seed has to die in order for the flower to grow. And that's so true. And that's where we are now. Scorpio is bringing us back to ourselves. And the story that's being told is what part of you has to die? What part must be left behind in order for you to mature? This is kind of a sidestep, but it's not. So up until about 3 years ago, if you asked me who my favorite rapper was, I would tell you Biggie, hands down. Then I would tell you Fab. Biggie is my favorite rapper of all time, and then Fab is my favorite rapper alive, right? And I've listened to Big's lyrics in depth for years. For years. So that song about him kicking in somebody's door and R-ing their mama and R-ing the kid and robbing the mama, all that, it was bars to me. Because I was a child who had experienced and was experiencing my own set of child abuse and R word, right? So it was almost like he was, I don't know, testament. I don't know. It was weird how my trauma connected to those lyrics. It was weird how I was okay with them. It was weird how I was passive from them. But then I healed. That part of me, like that part of my wound finally was remedied. And I tried to go and listen to Big 3 years ago. And I tried to vibe out. I was trying to clean my house and just push play and let that bitch ride. And track after track, bar after bar, I was like, wait, what's wrong with this nigga? I have a daughter now. So I'm like, oh, absolutely not. You know, I got up in arms about it. I was like, oh, no. Because then I realized I had reached a level of healing where I could no longer be around energies that even triggered that shit at all. Which is the equivalent of not being able to be around people who trigger you at all. Sometimes you can use that trigger as an opportunity to navigate and be like, okay, was I really doing the work that I said I was doing? Okay, this is the time for me to test it. But other times you need to realize, no. That trigger can set you back. Move it around. Get it out of here. So, when I realized I couldn't listen to him no more, that was 3 years ago. I had to grieve that. I had to grieve the fact that I no longer could listen to my favorite rapper no more. Like literally could not listen to him, and he could no longer be my favorite rapper anymore. Got to move you around, right? So, and then I'm a studier of gematria and the industry. So I have been so desensitized from the lies and all of this shit that they've been putting out. I've known it for years. Everything about Diddy, nothing shocks me. It's just confirmational. That's why my Patreon tribe is like so illuminated. Because we've been on this vibe. We've been on this energy for years, right? So I'm saying that to say, you are being called back to yourself. Your story is being rewritten. You have been given the pen so that you do not have to just deal with the story that you were given before. We've been going off the energy of the story that we were inherited, what we inherited. But now we're about to switch it. We're about to pull a Jacob. How he did to Esau when their daddy was dying. We about to switcheroo them so that the energy is now being written in our favor, not in the favor of what we were given previously, right? We've all been redefining our relationship with the Most High since Saturn went into Pisces, March of 2023. And this right here is a bridge point where you meet the face of God. Black church, pineal gland. You're meeting the face of God. You're realizing that God created you to be the creator of your own existence. You're realizing that God gave you every gift that you needed when you came here to navigate, to be successful, to heal, to remedy, to remove. You have the power. You're realizing that now under this whole transition. You know, you can feel the effects of new moons and full moons 3 days before, 3 days after. You can work with those energies 3 days before, 3 days after. So it's safe to say that by the end of this week, you'll already be feeling like the downloads. And then if you are a Scorpio placement, you're already feeling this shift. Sun, moon, rising, north node, Venus. Venus is also in Scorpio. Wait, I think Venus moved in Sagittarius. But we're realizing that God gave us the gifts that we needed when we got here in order to get here. We realized that when we were in the Akashic Records, we only came forth here in this lifetime because we knew we had what we needed to be resourceful to navigate this lifetime. And when people can realize that you chose this lifetime, you chose your family, you chose your experience, you chose your trauma, you chose it all because you knew that you could navigate it, then we can have a lot less negative Nancys and sappy Sams because people can realize that, oh, I came here to do this. I can do this. I'm the power. I'm the God. Made in God's likeness. But we have to be responsible with our gift, and we have to toil our gift. And Scorpio is all about using your gift. What is your God-given gift? Use it. What is your God-given initiation? Use it. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10 through 11. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful words of God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. Toiling your own gifts. Toiling what God gave you at birth. You know, jealousy is so stupid because it's like you literally cannot be mad at the person. You have to be mad at God. You cannot be mad at the bad bitch. You can not be mad at the person with the pockets. You cannot be mad at the person who inherited wealth, generational wealth. You have to be mad at God because that was what God bestowed upon them. You have to be mad at their past life energy for deciding that this is what they're going to come into, and they came into agreement with God that this is what they're going to do this lifetime. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. The jealousy cannot reside because it's bigger than you. And when you take the time to look at what God gave you, what did God give you? Yes, you may have tribulations. Yes, you may have strife. Yes, you may have breakdowns. And maybe you have more than the average person. But when you realize that you were gifted and equipped to transmute that energy and step on top of the neck of the energy, then you can move a lot more confidently. Fine-tune and critique your mental processes now. It's 222 on the timer. I've been talking about since Saturn moved into Pisces that it is a very important time for your mental focus and mental consciousness. I think I've been saying that every reading for the last 7 readings too, y'all. I really feel like it. Because it's serious. Saturn will stay in Pisces until 2026. Pisces is getting ready to move into Virgo April or March of next year, and then it's going to stay there until 2026. Well, we're going to have our first eclipse axis. We already had it. So the eclipses have already moved into it. That Pisces full moon lunar eclipse was the first eclipse on that axis, which will not be moving out of that axis until 2026, July. Get your focus right. Stay grounded. Have your routine that works for you because you're going to need it wherever you're going. My final message is abandon everything that you have outgrown. Stop trying to fit into shoes that don't fit. Let go of them jeans that don't fit. Let go of them leggings that don't fit. Give them to somebody else. Open up an opportunity for a whole new wardrobe, a whole new legacy, a whole new opportunity. I'm going to pull the cards to see what will our energetic focuses be for Patreon. Because like I said, we're going to get into the water kite, which I briefly mentioned here. I think it's a little deeper than that. Past lives, I briefly mentioned here, but we'll get into that. The 24-month transit, and then of course the cards. What is our energetic focus for Patreon? Oh, I don't know who needs to know this, but I learned about the 2 authenticator whatever method. You need to have that for every app that you have. If you have an app, you need to have the authenticator app. That flew out the deck. For every app that you have. I mean, when I told my cousins that I had got hacked, they're like, you didn't have the, like 3 people said this to me. You didn't have the 2 authenticator app? What in the fuck is that? What is that? Elder millennial, bro. Y'all better make it make sense because I don't know. But now I know. Now I know. So now I'm going to share the word. Now I'm going to share the word. Make sure you are protecting yourselves at all costs. These are the focuses for Patreon. Happiness hater. Look, somebody watching from a distance. hating from outside because they can't get in. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Somebody's trying to play nice, but they just trying to get in so they can hate on your happiness. So deep reflection is needed. Meditation, grounding so that you can stay focused through it all. I remember that God loves me and He cares, and He'll never put more on me than I can bear. Y'all have a good one. Patreon, what it do? Welcome to the extendo. Y'all see I'm